But I think the listening to understand piece, because there's, you know, in my project, I think, I had to work with some people who have different values then, and we see things differently. And it would just be easy to kind of, I don't know, put up a little bit of a wall to be so devoted to my own kind of lens and perspective, but to really listen to understand and hear what someone's saying, give them a chance to speak and be heard, noticeably built relationships and built trust in the work that I was doing.
Nice. Nara, how about you?
Hi.
We can.
I did not speak English for a long time. Almost forgot how to speak it. And for us, our collaborative project is mostly focusing on the collaboration between the local stakeholders, including the local herders, rangers, and local authorities. And they all have the different perspectives, different ideas, and then the meeting point, the cross point is exactly the trust. And when we trust each other, we can receive their ideas, we can share our ideas, and then we can also doing together something and for the coexistence.
Nice. Bruna, you're next on my screen.
That's a very hard choice. I think I could say a lot about all of them, but I think collaborative leadership, it's very good because I at least learn about leadership a lot during this process. And I feel like we have a lot of to work on being collaborative in leadership. And it's something we really need to have for the action plan we are building. We want to have the leadership, but have the space for people to actually engage within that. So
Nice. Manuela.
Oh, Alison, my difficulty speak English.
That's okay. Do you want to add it to the chat?
Okay.
Excellent. We'll get it. She's got Bruna there.
I'm far away today.
Oh no. I'll add it to
Sorry.
the chat, Manuela. No, it's all good. Chansa.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Yeah, I'm just thinking about maybe the shared goal, particularly for our project. We work with kids, so we don't have that, strong requirement to build the trust. It was easy for us to build the trust with children, and of course there was other stakeholders like the local government and the other people, but shared goal was the most important or the number one work for us. Then this shared goal helped us to build the trust, and also collaborative leadership was the next, for us to really share our responsibilities and play the role, leadership role, all of us.
Nice. Stephanie.
I think that I choose share a goal also because there are different goals from the different stakeholders, and you try to understand what each one wants in the end of this collaborative conservation. It's hard, and it's like takes time to everybody talk and make the other understand, so we can contribute and work together. So I think it's this.
Nice. Fred and Fernanda.
I think, hi all again. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. Sorry, my bad English also. I will try to explain my feelings about it, but I believe that shared goals, it's the most important for me. And when I think that we discovered during the project common grounds with the community and the institutions beyond the detective services, beyond the Pumas, common important things to work together that will um, eh, que vão alcançar that will achieve the Pumas conservation. So there many subjects come around during this project, and we were in touch with the community and institutions involved in the project, and many things we do different from conserve pumas in just conserve pumas, and pumas are being conserved with these
Right.
activities. So I believe this is shared goals.
For example, fighting for a better scenarios against fire.
Mhm.
Fire is it's good to fight with fire for people, but it's also good for pumas.
Mhm.
Or struggling for better watersheds, like we have here some actions for that. So it's good for people, it's good for puma. So I think that improves a lot the project.
Nice.
Are you done?
Yeah.
For me, I like the three, but definitely I enjoyed more the trust and trust even before the partnership with CCC, of course, but realizing during these months how we build trust with the community. And in fact, there are two levels: the trust with community, which is sensible, and the trust between the team, because as we have to share or to split for different actions and objectives, you have to trust in the fellow with you to accomplish every task that we want to do. But feeling the trust with especially the weaker, let's say, chain, for example, the cowboys, that after a lot of months they will come to you and discuss with no fear about what he feels about Puma's presence, about Fox presence, and really hear you and also suggest things that perhaps you will not like. I think that highlights how he trusts us to discuss new grounds for dealing with wildlife, which is a situation we have in our project. So I would choose trust.
Nice. Excellent. Kristen.
Yeah, hi everyone. I think I'm the only one on my team here. I think everyone else is out in the field this week, so I'm the sole representative. But actually, Fernanda and Fred kind of really touched on what I was going to talk about. Shared goals is one of the things that our team's projects focuses on a lot. We're representing the Northeast Mexico Agave Restoration Network, which our CCC team has kind of been the founders of and the steering committee of over the past 6-7 years. And it started as working with communities coming from the bat angle, at least from BCI, because we're bat people. And that was our goal. But then it has morphed over the 6-7 years. It's morphed beyond just bat conservation, like Fred said, to holistic approaches, sustainable and regenerative ranching and agriculture, supporting community business enterprises that all support habitat for these bats and for people. And the network itself has kind of morphed from very focused on the bat conservation to now being our network. Like, it's no longer BCI's network. This is our network. The community see it as something they own and contribute towards. So that's really cool. And then just like also the trust, internally within our team, that having that trust of having worked together for years, in various aspects, we all trust each other, even when things are not going great or things are the momentum has lagged, which has happened over the years many times. We know each other and we trust that we will pick it back up again, and we have every time. So that's, those two aspects.
Nice. Excellent. Juliana.
Hello, everybody. My internet connection is a little bit unstable. So if you're not understanding me because of the internet connection, please let me know.
Okay.
I was thinking here in my mind, and I was reflecting about what Fred said, and I was thinking kind of the same thing that he talked about. I guess that the trusting and sharing goals, the most interesting part of that, I believe, first is between our team, um, because we are a lot of people. And we have to do this first as a team and then with the community. But I believe that the process of building the trust with people, especially in the field, with people who are living every day with our carnivores, and then find the common objectives and creating this connection between us and them and the people who are there every day with the animals. I guess this is the most challenging, but I believe the most touching part for me.
Nice. Excellent. Ugamara, that your backdrop picture is just spectacular. Ugamara, how's your English? Do you want to pass?
Oh, yeah. I think leadership is not only about leading. Leadership is empathy. Leadership is just waiting the right time, and leadership is supporting your team members for the right time.
So I have just had the best time with this cohort and Allison and the fellowship, and I'm happy to be able to share about the work that I'm doing with you guys and with everybody else who's here. So I've been working on understanding Colorado rancher perspectives on non-lethal approaches to protecting livestock from carnivores. And we know that carnivore livestock conflict is a global problem, but here in Colorado, conflicts have been elevated due to wolf reintroduction. We've had, as you guys know, there's been two different groups. I wish I could see that. Two different groups of wolves, gray wolves, reintroduced to Colorado over the last couple of winters. And ranchers have been living with carnivores like mountain lions, bears, and coyotes for a long time, but the wolf reintroduction has really elevated the conversation about non-lethal approaches to protecting livestock. About 2/3 of Colorado is rangeland that's shared by livestock and carnivores, so that's a lot of land base where there's the potential for livestock carnivore interactions. When we talk about non-lethal approaches, there are two different kinds. So tools tend to be shorter term physical devices, more visible. There's a couple of examples here, fladry and livestock guardian animals. And then strategies, on the other hand, are more like management practices that are incorporated into ranching operations, and they tend to be effective longer term and really focus more on managing the livestock than on managing the carnivores and reducing vulnerability to predation. So there's a couple of examples here with range riding and calving season being pushed later to be synchronized with wild prey. Is this working for everybody? So the challenge is, we know we've got these approaches, we have technical solutions, but how do we actually encourage people to implement them on the ground? So how do we close the gap between knowledge and on the ground implementation? And we know that providing information and knowledge alone are not enough to drive behavior change where people would be adopting new behavior, implementing these approaches. So research suggests that there are 5 common steps to changing human behavior. The first one is to identify the desired behavior. So in our case, that is the ranchers adopting non-lethal livestock protection approaches. The second one is identifying barriers and motivations, and that's really the focus of my research. So barriers would be the things that would discourage ranchers from adopting these approaches, and motivations are the things that would encourage ranchers to adopt these approaches. So our research objectives were really aimed at understanding Colorado ranchers and their perspectives. How aware are they of various livestock protection approaches? And what are their trusted sources of learning and sharing information? And then our second objective was, as I just talked about, understanding their barriers and motivations to adopting livestock protection approaches. So I interviewed 26 ranchers across the state of Colorado. They had cattle and sheep operations of pretty much any size, and just gathered information about their lived experiences with these approaches and had conversations and heard what they had to say about protecting their livestock and carnivores as well, and then extracted essentially the major themes that they talked about during interviews. So what we found, these are all of the approaches that were mentioned across all interviews. So on the left side in green, you can see the physical tools. On the right side in blue are more like the strategies integrated into management. And this isn't necessarily indicating,
Go ahead.
Okay.
Ron's going to try to troubleshoot.
This doesn't indicate fluency with the approaches or even like a high rate of utilizing them, but it does. Each of these essentially was mentioned one time across all interviews. So it does show that ranchers have broad awareness about these approaches. And then also part of our first objective was to learn from ranchers where do they trust to learn and share information with one another. And this is really important so that we know, practitioners really know the best ways to work with ranchers and how to deliver information and share information in ways that they will be receptive to. Okay, so our second objective was to identify the barriers and motivations. And what was really interesting was that we found a lot of these barriers and motivations to implementing approaches mirrored one another. So for example, if a rancher had a bad personal experience with a tool or strategy or heard about a bad experience from someone else, that was a barrier for them to be interested in using any approach going forward. And on the flip side, if they had a good experience with an approach or heard about their neighbor, or even on the news, another rancher having a positive experience, they were more likely to be open to utilizing approaches going forward. We also found that ranchers had perceived tools and strategies to be ineffective for various reasons. That it only works for a set number of time, or works for wolves, but it doesn't work for bears, or it's not compatible with my operation, like my terrain is too rough, those types of things. And then on the other side of that, ranchers also found that essentially if there were additional benefits that were not predation related, that were good for their operations, things like reducing stress on the rancher, so improved mental health. One rancher talked a lot about when he pushed his calving season later and later, he got more time with his family, didn't have to get up at 2 a.m., 24:00 in the dead of winter, checking on cows being born. And then surprisingly, we found that tolerance was also a barrier, tolerance of carnivores and predation. So one rancher talked about she has 10% losses of her livestock to dogs every year, and she just figures that that comes with her territory and accepts it and doesn't really take action. And on the other hand, other ranchers it was their concern about carnivores and actually having predation events that motivated them to implement approaches. And then we had a handful of other barriers that didn't necessarily match with motivations. So those were lack of knowledge, just not knowing like what are these approaches and where do I find them? Do they work on my ranch? Scarcity of resources, the cost, the labor required, peer pressure, so kind of fear of ranching neighbors being critical of them if they saw them implementing tools like flattery, things that are visible, and then just general opposition to change. So what does this mean for Colorado and even more broadly? So we go back to the 5 steps for behavior change. We've identified our behavior, we've identified the barriers and motivations. And then the next step is to develop a strategy and kind of choose from a menu of behavior change tools that are proven to work. And I'll give some examples of those tools that work in our community here. So these are 3 examples of behavior change interventions that directly address our rancher identified motivations and barriers. Social diffusion is essentially when someone in a community is talking about what they're doing, what the behavior that they're doing and demonstrating it and then spreading the word. So the Blackfoot Challenge, which many of you have heard of in Montana, is a good example where a group of ranchers got together to kind of be collaborative about solving their carnivore livestock conflicts and have had a lot of success. And then the Center for Human Carnivore Coexistence here organized an exchange, like a peer-to-peer learning event where Colorado ranchers went to Montana. It was really successful. And we know that ranchers like peer-to-peer learning. That came up in our results as well. That's a preferred way of sharing information, is to learn from each other. Another strategy is to provide incentives and support. So an example of that would be, again, the Center for Human Carnivore Coexistence hosts the Wolf Conflict Reduction Fund, which provides small grants to Colorado producers when they have an urgent need to protect their livestock from wolves. And then a third one is providing information and resources. And there's a new website here, wolfreadycolorado.com. And basically that's for ranchers, created by ranchers, practitioners, researchers, conservationists, and is an information hub that consolidates information about minimizing wolf livestock conflict. So we look at kind of broadly what we've achieved over the course of the project. I would put the building relationships with ranchers and other practitioners kind of at number 1. There has been a lot of trust building. I think the interviews really opened the door with a lot of ranchers for that. And we learned a lot from ranchers, how familiar they are with approaches, what their motivations and barriers are to utilizing them, their trusted sources for learning and sharing information. We also learned about a whole host of operational challenges that ranchers have that are not predation related, and that's really important because those challenges limit their capacity to learn and implement approaches to protect their livestock from carnivores. So overall, we have a better understanding of how to collaborate with ranchers and encourage adoption of these approaches, protecting livestock. Other awesome opportunities opened up throughout the course of the project too, like the Center for Human Carnivore Coexistence invited me to help coordinate an informal coalition of human wolf conflict practitioners in Colorado. And so I've been able to kind of work more closely with a bunch of people who are in this field. And then that has also led to further collaboration with ranchers. Like we've been able to do more with ranchers because there's all these people in this network working together on wolf conflicts. And then, of course, this project is also my master's thesis and will be a publication. So close. So aspirations, next steps, we know peer-to-peer learning is something that ranchers want, and so things are in the works. We're actually working with one of the ranchers who I interviewed. He's really passionate about using wildlife cameras to monitor wolf presence on his ranch, and so we're supporting him to teach other ranchers in his community about how to use cameras for that purpose. And I already mentioned the Blackfoot Challenge Exchange. We're planning another one where Montana ranchers will come to Colorado to share their success stories about mitigating conflicts with carnivores and livestock. And then through these interviews, this is something that I've struggled with. It's like we learned so much what to do with all this information by talking to ranchers and learning about things like their operational challenges and what kind of support they need that they shared could be really helpful with extension practitioners. So hoping to turn some of that information into useful extension materials. And similarly, we have an opportunity to write a report for Colorado Parks and Wildlife with results and recommendations. Almost done. I'd say, yeah, so what went well, I won't read all of these things off, but the CCC fellowship has just been incredibly supportive. Allison's training was amazing. I had mentorship from Robin Young, who's just like well-versed in the ranching community in Colorado, which is amazing. John's support, and then being part of this cohort has been incredible because we've just gotten to share stories and troubleshoot and kind of work with each other and learn from each other's projects. Having phenomenal advisors, Ray and Veronica, I couldn't have asked to have better advisors on this project. And then all the support within CSU, various organizations, extension, engaging with ranchers went well. I think interviews were just like a tool to kind of open the door to relationships, some new relationships and build on existing ones. And then we partnered to recruit rancher participants in the study. And so that was great collaborating with different other organizations who already had rancher contacts as well. Better next time. So I need that.
I like that framing, that's all.
Yeah, I think including more diverse demographics and then having more diverse perspectives in our study. I've tried really hard to recruit Indigenous and BIPOC ranchers in Colorado to participate in the study and was not successful. And I think, you know, there are so many Native tribes that were the original inhabitants in Colorado of this land. And I think starting earlier, doing tribal engagement takes a long time, contacting tribal governments, seeing who's running their ranching operations. It's just really important to include those stakeholders in kind of any land use issue in North America. Okay, I feel like I need to wrap up. I'll just say personal takeaways. I really learned the value of listening to understand, like I mentioned kind of as we started. I love working with ranchers. I feel like it's been great to see how open-minded they are and how many stories they have to share about successful experiences with protecting their livestock from carnivores and non-carnivores, and that's been really great to learn. I just want to briefly mention work that's connected to and building on this. So Cole Purdy is getting his PhD here at CSU is building on this work and working to identify the most influential of the barriers and motivations that came out of the study, and also which approaches ranchers are most interested in. And then Morgan, our superstar in the room right now, is also working on understanding the impacts of these tools on livestock themselves so that ranchers can be more informed, when they're making these choices and know what their livestock protection options are. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
I have a quick question. Did you find any difference in cooperation between sheep ranchers and cattle ranchers? Was the cooperation different between those two groups or the same?
What do you mean by cooperation?
Cooperating with you, because they both conflict with each other sometimes and have different views on the range and so forth. And
everybody that I talked to wanted to talk to me.
Even the tough ranchers.
Yeah. I mean, we ended up actually with people reaching out to us saying, I heard that you're doing this study and I want to share what I have to say. Yeah. So cooperation was not an issue.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. People love talking to Jenna.
Either they write about it or everyone wants to talk to Jenna.
And it does make a difference, and that's partly of why that those sort of leadership characteristics that they shine through. We are gonna have time for questions at the end. If you all don't mind hanging out, we have some other fantastic presentations. Who would like? And you guys, I am so sorry. It's so weird on our end because we can't see a darn thing. So I'm looking at my computer because that's where I can see you all. But who would like to go next?
I think we can go.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen.
Yes.
I'm just fine. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Or is it? I don't know if this. So I can't see anybody. So if there's any trouble, please just tell me.
It looks fantastic, Bruna.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here and to listen to all the projects in Cohort 14. So I'm going to share a little bit about the story our project has been kind of the journey our project is in. And I'm talking in the name of the whole team. So I hope I represent everybody well. So Let's go. So we work in the middle of Brazil, in central Brazil, in a state called Goiás. And it's a state, that has two, we are in an area that has two main kind of hotspots, two biomes that are very biodiversity rich. And one is the Brazilian savanna de Cerrado, and the other one is the Atlantic forest. And the region we are in, we have the matrix is partially done by constructed by pastures and by agriculture, mainly soybeans. And we have two protected areas within our area. One is up here and the other one is here. Both are parks. And the idea was to implement an ecological corridor between those parks. So in our area, we have 7 different municipalities. And when we proposed the project, our idea was to co-develop tools and strategies to promote human-wildlife coexistence and biodiversity conservation. And to do that, we had to identify and engage stakeholders to co-develop an action plan. We wanted to identify threats and alternatives to mitigate them, and expand knowledge about 4 iconic species that occur in the area we are in. So the 4 species are the jaguar, the horned fox, the puma, and the maned wolf. They were chosen because of previous work we've done, an interview with different people and informal conversations. And they are the animals that most were cited in conflict and day-to-day life of the people. And the jaguar was chosen because it was recorded in the area after a long time without any register for this animal. And they allow us to work in different scales, in different geographic scales. So horned fox can allow us to work in properties, and the jaguar, the puma, and the maned wolf can help us cross these municipalities' barriers and work broadly. So we wanted to do a workshop by the end of the CCC project. And when we started doing the stakeholder analysis, we saw that we couldn't do that because we had over 100 stakeholder groups identifying the brainstorming step. So we had to come up with a different strategy. So we created inclusion and exclusion criteria for the stakeholders and saw who should be on the core of the action plan development. And we selected 44 stakeholder groups, and we kind of divided them in 8 different categories according to kind of community sectors. So we had the rural community, the urban community, research and education. And for each one of them, we tried to see how we could engage them. So, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we are trying to do with the most of the groups we can, mini workshops to 3 to 4 people. And when that's not possible, we do interviews. And for the broader groups with most diversity within them, like the urban community, we plan on doing surveys. The workshop is still in the planning, but it's going to be on key points of the action plan development. So we had a lot of changes throughout the process. So we spent like a couple or more than a couple months on planning and trying to see how to best engage people and actually make collaborations. And we started doing mini workshops by the end of last year. So we done 7 mini workshops, reaching 27 people on those stakeholder groups. So we had representatives from government, private sectors, nonprofits, rural community, and undergraduate students. Are you hearing me? It's okay.
Yes,
Sometimes
it's going great.
Okay.
Like I said, we're having some technical difficulties, so we got somebody here that's trying to work on it. But we've got you on some computers. It's going great. You're doing good.
Okay. And we had a strategy to do the 7 mini workshops. We wanted to kind of have them well-rounded. So we chose people that were within a context of the park. So we have the park manager, park staff, and in Brazil, parks have to have an advisory council. So made up of various stakeholders in the region. So we took advantage of that diversity and kind of constructed a mini workshop around that. But we want to do more mini workshops and engage more people. So the mini workshops were based on interview guide, semi-structured, and we recorded them and made some questions for those people. And this is one of them. If you want to try to answer or think about them or put on a chat. We had those pictures printed and people had to shovel them around to say like, which animal do you think has the most amount of conflict with people and which animal do you think has the least amount of conflict? And then after they kind of shoveled it around and discussed it between themselves, we asked like, why do you think that? Which are the conflicts? And kind of explore the topic. And we started analyzing those 7 mini workshops. We are coding them. We started now, but we already have some very important highlights to show you. We have a broader category of identifying context elements. The threats, we wanted to see which threats there were for the 4 species, barriers for conservation, human carnivore types or negative interactions, and risk perceptions people had about them, like jaguars are more dangerous than howler foxes, or pumas can attack me, and the perspectives are on the 4 species. And we also were able to kind of identify strategies to achieve coexistence, strategies to avoid and mitigate those threats, education and outreach, ideas and limitations, types of strategies to avoid conflict, and perceptions about those strategies. And we had a lot of ideas and inputs about governance, regulation, and management. For each of those strategies, we kind of try to see if people could explore more how those strategies could be implemented, who should do it, which would be the barriers, and especially if they had any idea of other stakeholders that should be included in the action plan. So we had a lot of results here. And on top of that, we continue doing the work we've been doing to keep all those stakeholders engaged and involved in the process. We continued collecting data, ecological data, and having those informal conversations, especially with farmers and ranchers, and visiting farms that had conflict with ranchers that had conflict with carnivores. We Stephanie, do a lot of education activities, and we talk with the children on the farms we go in, we install cameras with them. We try to motivate them to keep them in the subject and extract information and see how an action plan could work. And we identified that wildlife and vehicle collision are a huge threat. So we started an initiative that we register every wildlife that we encounter that it's roadkill. And we encourage other people in the region to tell us if they see those animals and where and which animals was it. And we have a collaboration with the state government. They have an app called INA, in which people can register the roadkill they see, the roadkill animals they see, and we can assess that later on. And we we hope our idea is for September to have a first draft of the action plan based on the data we did get, and have those and see which elements we need to work better and how we could improve them. So up to this point, we have stakeholders involved because much of the data it's centered on our team. But our next phase, constructing this action plan, is to actually kind of decentralize it and actually engage the stakeholders in the collaborative process. So that's what we want now, the next steps. And I think we were really successful in kind of constructing this relationship with people. This is a drawing a kid made for us saying that we are meaningful. So it was really we were really touched by that, and all the conversations we have with them, they are very sincere. And we've been doing a lot of good job working on the regional action plan, but everything we do, we kind of exchange and construct, take into consideration national plans that are in action. Here in the picture, we have the national plan for big cats, but we also have the national plan for canids. And I think what we would take away is a lot of knowledge and idea and inspiration, because having the cohort and CCC and CHCC and all the people we've met really, really helped us think outside the box and expand our ideas, and really kind of gave us strength to continue making the change we want to see. And I think that having this action plan and this co-development as a goal helped us construct more meaningful and more the shared goal thing with the community. So I think we are very grateful for it. And that's it. Thank you.
Alison, you are muted.
I think we are alone again.
Não, ela tá ali, Alison.
Oh no,
I
there
think
it
you're
is.
talking. She's
Okay.
talking.
You're
She's just on
muted.
mute.
Here,
Oh.
no, you're good now.
Oh, Alison is there. You can see. Oh, there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Who's going next?
Do you mind if I go? I want to introduce you to someone.
Yay!
I'll be right back. I would like to introduce you to the newest member of the Northeast Mexico Agave Restoration team. Let's see, where is he? Coming in. Okay, come on in. Here it comes.
Yay!
Hi, Daddy.
Oh, what a cutie.
This is my son David. He just turned a year old this week. So he was with us in Fort Collins.
Yes, he was.
4 months along then. So but yeah, he was born in August last year, and he's been my little companion since then. Wave
So glad to
hi.
meet him.
Clap, clap. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, I don't want to take up too much of my talking time.
Sweet.
Bye.
Thank
Say
you
bye
for
bye,
that.
Mama. Clap, clap. Yeah. Oh, that's my husband, by the way. And my dog. I'm a potato. Thank you. Okay. Glad I could finally show. He's always been at daycare when we've had meetings, so I haven't been able to show him off.
All right.
Okay, let's see. I'm sharing my screen. Let's see. Can you all see? It's thinking. Okay, can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm representing our Northeast Mexico Agave Restoration Network. We've been working to build a collaborative regional network in Northeast Mexico to create a climate resilient agave corridor for bats and for people. So these were our team. We represented 4 different local and international nonprofits. So Anna and I were from Bat Conservation International. Daniela was from Altered. Emma from Parque Ecológico Chipinque, and Josefo and Antonio from ASHAC. So 4 of us as nonprofit kind of leaders of this network. And this network is a regional network of over 35 partner organizations or groups, including other nonprofits, ejido communities, private landowners, federal and state agencies from Mexico, industry, and researchers. And this picture, I'm really excited, was actually just taken back in June, a few months ago, at our 2025 network meeting. So you can see Anna here. I know Josefo and Antonio are in there. And yeah, it's a recent photo, so really have grown this network.
Wow.
Yeah, and this, so kind of the overall vision of our network is that we envision an ecologically and economically thriving climate resilient region of Northeast Mexico with prosperous rural communities, healthy landscapes, and flourishing biodiversity. And our mission really is focused on restoring or recovering populations of an endangered pollinating bat, and supporting economic opportunities for at least 1,500 individuals across 39 communities in the region. So that's our overarching kind of mission. We actually did, this is a new development. This logo here is our new logo. We never had any visible logo or anything. So we recently developed this to have actually as an icon of, hey, this is something we're all doing together. So overall achievements throughout the CCC program is kind of twofold. One is we strengthened the governance of the network itself, and I'll talk a little bit more what we did specifically on that. And more on the ground, we enhanced local capacity for monitoring and restoration work. So I'll give some more examples of that in a minute. So one of our kind of key achievements was hosting an in-person network meeting in June in Monterrey in Nuevo León. And we had 58 people from 32 partner communities, organizations, and agencies attending. I love this picture because that's Josefo up there presenting kind of the intro for the meeting. And one of the cool things during this meeting is we brought on a handful of new partners who we've been engaging with over the past year or two, but we're not formally involved in the network, and they wanted to join the network and attend the meeting and meet other people in the network. So that was a great achievement. And another achievement from this meeting was that we shared our draft network charter with the whole group. So this is just page 1. We have been working through the CCC Fellows Program to refine and kind of finalize this charter document that explains who we are as a network, why we exist, and what we're doing together as a network. And so we presented this. People were really excited. There was some discussion about how we can improve certain aspects of the charter. But overall, it was, approved as the guiding document for the network. And then I love this photo. This is one of our CONAMP, or Mexican government partners, Pepe. While he's signing, these two folks are signing a letter of intent to continue collaborating and formalizing the network. And so that was another outcome of this meeting, is all the attendees signed this letter of intent to continue working together as a network with, again, that shared goal of restoration of agave habitats for people and for bats. More on the ground, we led several regional capacity building and partnership development opportunities You can see Anna here. This was more in central Mexico, central northeast Mexico, with a women's group exchange of experience that we hosted. We brought together women's group from different areas to share about how they develop businesses for their medicinal products or their personal care products that are based on sustainable use of natural resources. So they got to kind of learn from each other and also create and foster this sense of belonging. And again, the shared goal of like, hey, we're not in this alone. We're all kind of connected. And then here on the ground, there's Josefo and Ana and Emma all in this picture. We launched a Northeast Mexico bat monitoring program, which is the first of its kind in the region. And we brought together 31 participants from 10 federal protected areas from across 5 states, it's a huge feat to get a bunch of federal agencies and HEDO members together. But we were able to do that through that trust building that we've been developing over the years with our local partners, and launched this monitoring program that will provide really important data long term for both bats and for agaves in this area. In terms of network communication, so we developed several mechanisms for internally communicating with each other to share our successes and share updates across partners. So we have a WhatsApp group that is used. Folks will send pictures and be like, hey, my agaves are growing, or I saw the bats tonight. They're just kind of those updates that they're excited about. We are working on a newsletter that will be a regular kind of installment to, again, provide updates on what folks are doing in the network. We haven't been good at keeping up with this, but this is kind of something we're aspiring to doing like at least every 6 months. It's just been hard to fit this in with our normal day jobs, but it is something we are aspiring to. And we have been able as a network to communicate and able to get feedback from network partners on issues that have arisen in various times and work to address them. So nothing's perfect. This network isn't perfect. So there have been some issues, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I think we have good trust built between all the partners that we can openly communicate these issues when they arise. In terms of public communication, a great achievement from the CCC fellows is we did launch a website for the network. It's currently in English right now, but we're translating it to Spanish. It's just a basic website for now, but it gives us a public presence much wider than just in our little bubble. So that's really important. We are creating and have created the bones of a Facebook group to, again, share about the network and our work more with the public. And if anyone's working on restoration, the Restore platform is an online platform. It's so-called Restore without the E. And it's a platform where you can upload your initiatives or your projects and put polygons and actual GPS, like GIS layers, showcasing where you're working, and then have information about each site. And it's a really cool way to show to potential funders or partners like, hey, this is where we're working. These are the partners, and they can learn more about the work much more in depth. So we created a profile on this platform. And then the last kind of achievement I wanted to share is some recognition and some of the things we've been doing as a group to kind of share more about this work. So for the Network for Landscape Conservation Perspective series, I wrote an article about the agave restoration initiative, showcasing the partnerships that we have, and gave a webinar for the NLC webinar series. So that was a great way to showcase this work to other landscape conservation practitioners and share some of the lessons that we have learned developing this large landscape scale initiative with other practitioners. So that was a great way to share our knowledge, even though, of course, we're far from perfect. The agave, so the BCI agave restoration team was recognized in the US with a US Fish and Wildlife Service Recovery Champion Award this year, or I guess last year. So this was really, really nice to see recognition for this agave work from the US federal government, especially in a time now when, you know, things are not always the best with that aspect. So that was really nice to get that recognition. And then this is not public, but Anna's actually in the field right now to share this news. One of our community-based ejido groups that is forming a sustainable cattle production business that helps sustain agave habitat. We nominated them for the North American Pollinator Protection Campaign Farmer Rancher Award for Mexico, and they were selected for the award. So Anna's down there right now, kind of bestowing the award upon the group and sharing the news. And again, great recognition for the work that partners are doing. And then finally, for the Peregrine Accelerator for Conservation Impact, this is a program that our CCC Fellows team participated in a couple years ago. And we've been asked to serve as project mentors for another team that's in the current cohort of the Peregrine program. So for us, this is a really fantastic opportunity to kind of pay it forward and pass along the knowledge and the insight that we gained through the CCC Fellows program and apply it to this Peregrine program and really help this other network that's developing in the US-Canada border region develop their network. So that was really exciting to be asked to do that. And then finally, you know, the question of what could have gone better. There's always room for improvement. I mentioned this earlier, but maintaining momentum is challenging. It has been difficult even just for our core team to maintain meetings and schedule meetings with everyone in the field. And, you know, doing this network work is kind of on top of our actual paying jobs. It's part of it, but it's kind of separate. And so that has been a challenge, but that trust we have to keep going is always there. And we've been able to maintain and progress even when we've had that kind of lulls happen. We have learned that not all partners need to be involved at the same level of engagement, like we talked about with the different levels of engagement. You know, we always kind of kick ourselves when, oh, we need to get more of these folks involved, or this person should be involved. But we need to recognize that that's not necessary or really practical. So we're still kind of taking a look at that to figure out how to better engage folks who maybe don't have as good of a voice in the network. That's still ongoing, but we do recognize that not everyone has to be at the, you know, the steering committee kind of level. And then just some practical stuff. We still need to finish our governance structure and like accessory documents to that charter. We're still working through some of the nitty-gritty of kind of formalizing the network and potentially getting a network coordinator position on boards, finding somebody who can actually devote, you know, part-time time to coordinating this network so it's not on just our plates. But again, finding funding has definitely been hard. We have found a handful of opportunities for network support for networks within the United States, but for international networks, we haven't found any dedicated funding for that. We're just basically using funding that we have from some foundations through BCI. But anyway. And then ongoing partner challenges, there's the equity issues I mentioned of making sure folks have a voice who want to have a voice. And we kind of need more clear rules of engagement and expectations for joining the network and partner behavior. We did have a couple years ago at our in-person network meeting, had some conflicts arise during the meeting that were good to bring up, but it was hard to navigate some of those challenges with partners. And communication is always a hard thing when you have rural community members, you have government agencies that all have different abilities to communicate, all have different technology available, internet access even. So trying to think through all that is kind of our next steps. And then I'll end here. Sorry, it's a little blurry, but I love this photo from when we were in Fort Collins together. Just the camaraderie that this group has brought, the ability and the opportunity to be able to share our experiences and our, I guess, common challenges that a lot of us are facing has been invaluable to helping us keep going and keep that momentum up, even when it's challenging. So thank you all for the friendships, and I look forward to continue these friendships long into the future.
Nice.
Thank you. Let me stop sharing.
All right, y'all. Here's the situation. It's 15 minutes. Yes, so many hearts and clapping. We've got 15 minutes and 2 sets of Mongolians to go. So if we can, keep these things a little short, and as well, yeah, if you have to go, please feel free to go. And we might just run a few minutes over. Oh yeah, thank you. Go.
Oh, Nara, you are starting without consulting with me. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hello
We'll just
again, everybody.
Okay,
I'm
Nara's
so
going.
happy to. Sorry, should I start or not?
Yeah, it's good. Go.
Okay. And as you know, Mongolia is freezing cold. Is those guys are they're looking for the wolf patrolling the early morning of the January. It's 34 Celsius minus degrees outside. Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we lose you?
And we are the empowered herders, recovered nature, and the coexistence. It's the project name. And then, as you see, the first we got the collaborative CCC, the logo, and then below is the Hoste National Park logo. And just next to the Hoste National logo, we got the new logo for our project, and we got the 3 members of uh, the project. And our project site is exactly located in the central Mongolia. It's the 50,000 hectares, including the different species such as the very unique and the last species wild horses and the lynx and another species. And what was the problems and the challenges to resolve our project? It's the Mongolian nomadic herders are completely rely on the livestock products, and wolves are the main predator for their livelihood. And there are the several problems which is we identified, and livelihood risk is the wolves prey on livestock. It's the leading the financial loss for herders, and herders leading to the kill the wolves, and it's threatening the species survival. And the ecological risk is the habitat degradation if the declining the prey populations disrupt the ecosystem balance. And then between the researchers, wildlife biologists, and the Hoste National Park administration and the local nomadic herders, the increasing the conflicts, and it's the social risks. And we plan to resolve some options: the capacity building and training, and the community engagement and awareness, and the monitoring and adaptive management, and strengthening the local networks. Then our project objective is reduce the human-wildlife conflict and promote coexistence between the Mongolian herders and wildlife through the empowering local communities, such as the practical tools, knowledge, and support to protect livestock, and trying to strengthen the sustainable livelihoods. Then we got the collaborated stakeholders here, and we got the high level, the ministry level collaboration, and then local level, local authorities and local high school herders and rangers, and also the ecological policy department is the
our one of the key stakeholder, and as well as we got the international stakeholder. And now I'm going to talk about what was the highlights of our project. And the first thing is that we have organized the Mongolian Nomadic Lifestyle Day. It's the cultural event, and which is really interesting. And then we trying to do it's the nomadic herders who live around the park is coming into the national park resort, and then they are selling their products, which is the income increasing, and then the herders can be the happy, and collaboration increase it, and trust built, and the conflict reduce it. It's the proposing thing was the and second we're trying to make them understand the current situation of the ecological condition, which is really important for them. And last several years is the livestock numbers is dramatically increased, and opposite pasture is degraded, and so this harsh winter and drought is frequency increased, which means the lost livestock and then financial loss, and it might be the increase the conflicts. Then we are also the practical pasture land. The training session is exactly organized in the area. Then, as well as the local authorities are supporting us so much. For example, there are the ecological police department in each the village, and then they are supporting us through the law enforcement, and then also legal raise awareness, and then public awareness as well. Then our team member Ogunbayr is also presenting the wildlife disease and then the wildlife conservation on the herders meeting, as well as the most very attractive things of our project is that we are collaborated with the high school children, and that we have the organized the small and interactive competition for the high school children. They are doing the role playing game, and then also they are sharing their experience and their voices for what is exactly the coexistence, what is the importance of the conservation. Then this is the rangers are our key stakeholders. They are playing the crucial role for our project, because all of them, they are hired from the local level, and all their relatives and friends, and then their families living around the park, which is if we can empower them very well, they could share their knowledge, and then they could easily to sending the message for all local people. It can be our the final project's objective can be fulfilled through their engagement. Then the ministry level is the one of the key stakeholder, because in Mongolia we got the different law enforcement in terms of the wolf, and then there are something the very finally we got the very good collaboration with the ministry, and then they are officially designated the International Wolf Day on the August, and then they are using the Ogunbayar's information and then Ogunbayar's photography. And we got also very good collaboration with some fancy filming groups.
What are you looking at, Nara?
And last summer we have colored the proposed wolves, and then we will they started to get the data, and then we will soon to analyze those data for the analyzing, and then we will create the map of the conflict and also the other analysis. Then what we have learned from this fellows program is the team collaboration, and also the we are so. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. We are have learning is because we are the science-based people, and then it's value of the collaboration that we have really learned about that. And then we have faced so many challenges, and then after that we realize that challenges always been there, and then empowering the local people is the matter, and then also the adapt to uncertainty is the one of the key thing to learn from this project. And thank you so much. And then I did not speak English for a long time. It's my bad for the presenting our beautiful results. And thank you for all of you guys.
No, that was fantastic. Thank you.
Stop sharing.
Awesome. And Hansa, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let me share my slide. Here we go.
Thank you guys for your patience working through.
Can you see my slide?
Yes, almost. There it is. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the name of our project is From Co-Learning to Conservation in Rural Mongolia. It's more about the learning about the traditional ecological knowledge. I just want to start with the acknowledgement, and I would like to thank Center for Collaborative Conservation team and Director John Sanders and Ed Warner for providing this opportunity and resources. And the Underland, which is our project site, and the school children and teachers, director of the school, and then project team members, and all participants and stakeholders of this project, and also local herder communities for sharing their knowledge and participating in this project, and our fellow cohort 14. And I've learned so much from you all guys, and also thank you for this great friendship. And also I would like to send my special thanks to Alison Brody for her amazing support and guidance, and Dr. Maria Fernandez Jimenez for hosting me at her home during my attendance in the retreat in Colorado, and also for her valuable advices for this project implementation. So I just want to give you the very brief information about, sorry, can you?
Yes.
I don't know how to move this thing, but okay. So the main idea or main goal of this project was to really document or learn this traditional ecological knowledge from elders and then transfer it to the next generations. But we wanted to really work with the school children to play main role documenting, learning this ecological knowledge and sharing to the other herders. This idea came from when I was working with my previous project, because we interviewed the traditional ecological knowledge and herders plant knowledge, and then we realized that there is some gap or knowledge loss, especially among the young generation or young herders. So instead, working with the young herders, we decided to use the school children, which maybe we can work more generations, not only young herders. Oops, it's not working. Okay. The reason is also herders are aging and young generations are leaving the rural herding sector, and there is also a gender imbalance. More girls are living in herding, boys are doing herding, and this loss of TEK is actually also associated with the loss of formal transfer mechanism. And there is an informal transfer mechanism, but still becoming very weak. So that's why we thought this is the greater need for greater understanding of this herders' knowledge and how this relates to the rangeland management and conservation measures. And also, it's very critical to transfer this knowledge between generations. Okay, so this is our project team member, fellow Chansa, and then team member Ekstu, who is the head of the district cultural center, and then Raksha, who is a young herder part-time, and Gerilpat, middle school teacher, and Delgir Dava, who is a cultural center staff. And our project implemented, as I was mentioning, Undrultan Sum. Sum is a district, and it's about 700 kilometers from the capital of Ulaanbaatar, where I live. And we started with the 7th graders discussing about how we can learn, what we can learn. And then our project started in early May, and then we actually write it down our homework, all together. So who will be interviewing, who will be doing interviewing, and also doing the herbarium, learning about the plants. And then in September, we gathered back, and then after the summer break, and then we shared about our learning. And it was really fascinating to work with the kids. And also at some time, children prepared the herbarium from their hometown. They called it Plants of My Hometown. And then we decided to display good, prepared herbarium at the Som Museum, so that it will be really rewarding or very honorable thing for the kids. And together with our project team, we created the corner to display, and then we also displayed some of the herbarium. In winter, we decided to use the virtual learning because it's cold and distance-wise, so we decided to use, and then every week and every other week we did this virtual session, and then how we can really work together, documenting. And also at the same time, I also did some sessions about the plants and plant physiology, especially, so that try to make it more simply in the easy way for the kids. And then kids will have a homework to share this with their parents and then other young herders. And also, basically, this collaboration is really our role. The project team role is kind of facilitating and bringing the different generations together and then share and then have this conversation, which this never happened. One of the good thing we were really proud is our project participant, Kate Bacharel. He shared his learning at this BUG public meeting. BUG is a sub-district public meeting. This is usually very busy meeting with a lot of agenda talking about the rangeland and social aspects of herders, but the bug governor and the bug herders actually really interested in them, agreed to hear about our project, participant kit learnings and the collection of the TEK, which was really a good thing. And then not only learning, but also we want to help the kids to share about the learning with each other more fun way. So we organized a contest among them and about the plant identification, learned TEK, and for example, how they observe the climate by looking at the animal behavior and the plant behavior and the wind direction, etc. So there are several different topics covered in this. And we, of course, had the winners in the AHA contest. And then we discussed, okay, how we can continue this. This project is only 18 months. And the idea was 8th graders invited the 7th graders, meaning the brothers and sisters, and then decided to mentor. And then they paired and then decided to work together and then continue collecting the information. And the biology teacher of the school, who wasn't the team member, but he really interested, with the green jacket, she really eager to continue this initiative, and she decided to take a leading role, integrate into her teaching curriculum. But at some time, school directors supported this idea. We had several conversation meetings with him, and then he was thinking integrating into teaching curriculum and class curriculum is good, but also at some time we decided to create a children's eco club so that we can involve more kids, not only 7th to 8th graders. So we had discussed how we can expand or replicate this initiative. And one of the good thing of the project was we really also team members capacity development. We attended the National Rangeland Forum organized in capital of Ulaanbaatar, and 2 of our members attended. And the young herder, our project team member, and attended, involved in this plant ID contest among all these participants. And he was in 3rd place, which was we're really proud of that. And also, state and transition model, they provided the picture and then they had to explain. He really applied the learning from the project and learning from his effort, and that was actually very rewarding. Another thing was our team members and local community members become a really champion creating the discussions with the community about the rangeland related aspects and sharing our projects and learnings. So I'm thinking we are very proud. We are really creating the resources, the local resources in this zone. And this initiative is very new in this zone, maybe even not in many places in Mongolia. And also all project participants are motivated and created the interest among the community members. And this way they can also be the motivator or influencer of how we can really expand this initiative and do that if this can, will really contribute towards the rangeland management and rangeland planning. Another thing was we facilitated this collaboration between generation, learning from elders, and even the younger generation kids had very good questions, kind of, how do I call in English? To improve creative questions or very uncertain questions that sometimes elders even really had to think, It was really fascinating to see this interaction between the different generations. And their parents, our kids' parents were also sometimes uncertain, and then they also creating the space to learn. And also capacity development was throughout this process. We really take this efforts. And now we have this, draft or training program. It's not formal yet, but we, the local community or the teacher, biology teacher, really eager to continue this and take the lead. And as I was mentioning in the beginning, shared goal, I wrote this and then it was really nice to hear Alison was asking. So the biggest achievement of this project is really strengthening the local team members to work towards the shared goal to the rangeland conservation. So what could have been done better? We didn't really involve much the local government people. Of course, we involved them, but not quite often or more active way. So that we discussing this, maybe it's also important. The partly is because last year we had a local parliament election, and then in November we had a local election. And then government people were new and they were busy, that was also one of the challenge for us. But now our team members are really thinking to involve these newly elected people because they have more or less have a time to communicate with us. We shared our project to the province newspaper, but now we look back and discussing we should have this communication and information exchange plan from the beginning of the project. We just jumped into our work, we didn't really thinking about how we can share or communicate with the people in different provinces and different zones so that it can be useful to share more broadly and have a more bigger impact. But it's not too late, we are discussing about that. Another thing was, there are team members in countryside and they have their own job, like Christine was mentioning. And it was also sometimes for me, in the beginning, it was challenging for me to include or to pull them toward the shared goal. And there was different solutions like virtual learning sessions, virtual call, and we had again, faced technical challenges, internet disruption, and then phone calls and during evening or during nighttime. So these were the kind of challenges, but it's just toward our shared goal. And one of the expression I received from our team members is 1.5 years is too short for this initiative. But we will not limit our collaboration by this project timeline, and we already paved the road toward have a bigger impact from this initiative. Personal takeaways. Oh, it's already after 8. I learned so much from this project, especially my communication skill. Collaborating with people with different age, and especially with children and elders, and at some time together, it was really, for me, it's a very new thing, and I learned a lot. And facilitating discussion in the mixed group was also required some skills from me, and I've learned from that. And teaching skill, because I had some plant physiology teaching sessions, and it was I really try to use the different analogy and in simple language to really try to explain plant physiology, how the rangeland degradation and rangeland regeneration, could happen. And delegating roles among team members and mentoring and supporting young herders were also one of my learning, and I'm really happy to have this skill. With that, thank you.
Nice. Fantastic.
I try to be fast, speak fast.
That was awesome. All right. You all, that was just fantastic. That was I've been with you all since the very beginning of this, and watching you struggle at the beginning, and having these challenges and overcoming these challenges, and to see these final presentations it's just amazing what you all have been able to accomplish. And as you've said, it's like for many of you all, you've created these relationships and this trust, and you're not just going to drop it, you're going to continue on with that. And we've heard that a lot from past fellows as well. So just an amazing job. Super proud of you all, and incredibly proud of you all. And, just a huge round of applause again, just to celebrate everything that you've accomplished. So nicely done. I know.
Also, can we just acknowledge Allison as a fearless leader?
Yes, we should.
Yeah,
Like wearing
definitely.
hats and teaching and training us. Thank you.
Yes, we should give a big applause. Allison.
Alison is the wider project. We are the project of Alison.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that. I know it's a couple minutes over, but if anybody has any questions, would it be okay just to address a few right now? I really want to acknowledge everybody that's we've got over 25 people that are here with Cohort 14 celebrating with you all, and just really want to acknowledge your support, and thank you so much for being part of this and listening and helping us celebrate this. This is a super important program for the Center for Collaborative Conservation, and as you can see, we really feel like we're having just incredible impacts just on very different levels. And this program just means so much for us as well as for all the fellows. So thank you all so much for being part of this for the last hour and a half or so. All right. Cohort 14, you are not off the hook. I'm going to be reaching out to y'all. I just, yeah, you all are really special. You know that.
Okay.
I know.
Give a hug in our name for
All right.
Alison.
All right. We'll be talking to you all later. Good to
Yes.
see
Great
you all.
seeing
Have a good,
everyone. Thank you, Allison.
really nice
Thanks
to
a
see you
lot,
all.
Alison. Thanks for
Have a
having
good
us,
rest of the day.
everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Bye.
It was such a pleasure. Thank you, Alison, for organizing.
Of course.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, I know. I don't want to hang up.
I don't either. We can have like a cohort.
Bye.
I know. Bye. Okay. Leaving.
All right. Yeah.